Man's most significant delusion is believing that causes exist outside his own state of consciousness. Everything that happens to a person, everything he does, and everything that comes from him, occurs because of his state of consciousness. A man's consciousness consists of all that he thinks, desires, loves, believes, is true, and consents to. For this reason, a change in consciousness is necessary before one can change their external world. Just as rain falls due to a change in temperature in the upper atmosphere, a change in circumstances occurs due to a change in one's state of consciousness. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. To be transformed, the entire foundation of your thoughts must change. However, your thoughts cannot change unless you have new ideas, because you think based on your ideas. All transformation begins with a strong desire to change. The first step in renewing the mind is desire. You must want to be different and intend to be, before you can begin to change yourself. Then, you must make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. By desiring to be something other than what you currently are, you can create an ideal of the person you want to be, and believe that you are already that person. If this assumption persists until it becomes your dominant feeling, achieving your ideal is inevitable. The ideal you hope to achieve is always ready for realization, but unless you take on the responsibility of bringing it to life, it cannot manifest. Therefore, your attitude should be one in which, having desired to express a higher state, you alone accept the task of bringing this new and greater value of yourself into being. When giving birth to your ideal, remember that the methods of mental and spiritual knowledge are entirely different. This is a point understood by few people. Mentally, you know something by observing it from the outside, comparing it to other things, analyzing it, and defining it, by thinking of it. Spiritually, you know something only by becoming it, by thinking from it. You must be the thing itself, not just talk about it or observe it. You must be like the moth who, in his desire to know the flame, was willing to destroy himself by plunging into the fire, becoming one with the flame. Only the moth who burned in the flame truly knew it, and only he could speak of it, though he never returned to tell. Farid Udin Attar. Just as the moth was willing to destroy himself to know the flame, you must be willing to let go of your current to know what health is, to become a new person, and conscious of being secure to know what security is. Therefore, to bring a new and greater version of yourself into being, you must assume that you already are what you want to be, and then walk with faith in this assumption. Though it is not yet a reality in your life, you must have confidence that this new state of consciousness will manifest through your absolute commitment to the assumption that you are what you desire to be. This is what it means to be whole, to have integrity. It means fully submitting yourself to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, in the certainty that this new state of consciousness is the renewing of the mind that transforms. There is no process in nature that corresponds to this willing submission of the self to the ideal beyond the self. Therefore, it is foolish to expect the emergence of a new and greater concept of self to occur naturally. That which requires a state of consciousness to produce its effect obviously cannot be effected without such a state of consciousness. In your ability to assume the feeling of a greater life, to assume a new concept of yourself, you possess something the rest of nature does not: imagination, the instrument by which you create your world. Your imagination is the tool, the means, by which your redemption from slavery, sickness, and poverty is achieved. If you refuse to take responsibility for creating a new and higher concept of yourself, then you reject the means, the only means, by which your redemption, your attainment of your ideal, can be accomplished. Imagination is the only redemptive power in the universe. However, your nature is such that it is optional whether you remain in your current concept of yourself, a hungry being longing for freedom, health, and security, or choose to become the instrument of your own redemption, imagining yourself as that which you want to be, and thereby satisfying your hunger and redeeming yourself. The changes that happen in your life, due to your altered self-concept, often appear to those who are unaware as the result of chance, external causes, or coincidence. However, the only force that truly governs your life is determined by your own beliefs and assumptions. Even a false assumption, if maintained, will eventually harden into reality. The ideal you seek and wish to achieve will not manifest until you have imagined that you are already that ideal. The only way to escape your current situation is through a radical mental transformation of yourself. by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Therefore, use outcomes or achievements as the ultimate test of your ability to use your imagination. Everything depends on your attitude toward yourself. What you refuse to affirm as true for yourself can never be realized by you, because that attitude is the essential condition for achieving your goal. All change depends on belief, and this can only work when you completely surrender yourself to an influence. You must abandon yourself to your ideal, as a lover abandons themselves to love, for complete surrender to it is the key to becoming one with your ideal. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, until your assumption has all the sensory vividness of reality. You must imagine that you are already experiencing what you desire. That is, you must embrace the feeling of your wish fulfilled, until it moves you, and this feeling fills your consciousness, pushing out all other thoughts. The person who is not ready to consciously dive into the assumption of the wish fulfilled, believing it to be the only path to realizing his dream, is not yet prepared to live consciously by the law of assumption, even though he unknowingly lives by it. But for you who accept this principle, and are ready to live by deliberately assuming that your wish is already fulfilled, the true experience of life begins. To reach a higher level of being, you must adopt a higher concept of yourself. If you refuse to imagine yourself as anything other than what you currently are, then you will remain as you are. For if you do not believe that I am He, the person you want to be, you will remain as you are. John 8:24. Through the consistent and systematic cultivation of the feeling of the wish fulfilled, desire becomes the promise of its own fulfillment. The assumption of the feeling of the wish fulfilled makes the future dream a present reality. Life is a mental experience where all the situations, conditions, and events in your life are shaped by your assumptions. Since your reality is determined by these assumptions, you must acknowledge that you are either a slave to them or their master. Mastering your assumptions is the key to an unimaginable level of freedom and happiness. This mastery is achieved through deliberate, conscious control of your imagination. You shape your assumptions by creating a mental picture of the state you desire, or the person you want to be. Focus your attention on feeling as if you already are that person. First, visualize this image in your mind, and then immerse yourself in the feeling that this imagined state is your current reality. Through your imagination, what starts as a simple mental picture transforms into a seemingly solid reality. The key to this transformation is a controlled imagination and focused attention, consistently directed at the desired outcome. By creating and maintaining an ideal in your mind, by assuming that you are already that ideal, you align yourself with it and gradually become its image. Instead of thinking about the ideal, you must think from the ideal, living as if it is already true. This process was once described as submission to the will of God, or resting in the Lord. And the true test of this is that those who genuinely rest are inevitably transformed into the image of what they rest in. You become what you surrender your will to, and this surrendered will is your concept of yourself and everything you accept as true. By accepting the feeling of your wish fulfilled and persisting in it, you take on the results of that state. Without this feeling, you remain free from those outcomes. When you understand the creative power of imagination, you possess the key to solving all your problems. Every phase of your life is created by your imagination. A determined imagination is the only way to fulfill your dreams. It is the beginning and end of all creation. The great secret is a controlled imagination and a focused attention repeatedly centered on the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it occupies your mind and pushes out all other thoughts. The greatest gift is the truth that sets you free, the knowledge that you can experience in your imagination what you wish to experience in reality, and by maintaining this imaginative experience, your desire will become a reality. You are only limited by your uncontrolled imagination and lack of focus on the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Without controlled imagination and focused attention, no amount of prayer or devotion will produce the desired effect. When you can vividly imagine anything at will, and when these images are as real to you as the forms of nature, you are the master of your destiny. You must stop wasting your thoughts, time, and resources. Everything in life should be seen as an investment. Your dreams, visions of beauty and excellence, are like echoes from a lost race, sounds and faces from the vast universe. Some call this imagination, others call it God.